Hey friends and family, hey loved ones, hey fools, hey alchemists, hey gardeners and magicians and tools. How you doing? How's it going today? It's Saturday and the end of May, and we're still in that window of portal energies. We just had our Sagittarius full flower moon, full flower supermoon in Sagittarius, a total lunar eclipse. And yeah, a lot of opportunities and um, revelations unfolding. And it is kind of a weird, yeah, very strange, potent time. And just, yeah, so much possibility, so much potential, so many gifts being given, so much coming into the light. Yeah, the darkness being brought into the light, bringing awareness to what we haven't been aware of. Yeah, bringing more awareness into what we haven't, yeah, been totally aware of. And so, yeah, I've been receiving some amazing things and streams and lessons for my well-being, for my integrity, for my structuring, integrating all these things that I've learned in the last year, and then the last a few years, the last cycles within cycles, and the cycles and stages and phases of our lives. And it is, it's up to us to recognize and realize. So I wanted to share a few things that I've been receiving and working with and playing with and playing at. And through my relationships and through my relationship with myself and with life and with all, yeah, with one and with all that I am, through being one with the I am. The I am presence. The I am presence within me is one with the I am presence within all beings. And yeah, just playing with those things. And yeah, seeing so many things about me and we, and how beautiful and amazing this love really is when we allow it to be freely received. And I'm just working on that, being present and implementing new soulful strategies rather than the default ego survival strategies or unconscious ways of operating that we've learned and been conditioned to put on our default setting, and just being aware and realizing that the first step is awareness, the second step is acceptance, and then it's 1, 2, 3, one step at a time. But that's what's been coming up for me is just that awareness. Awareness is the first step. So just become aware. Just become aware of it. We don't need to beat ourselves up or chastise ourselves or punish ourselves or, sacrifice ourselves or our energy for doing it wrong or for being wrong or, for making mistakes. And a lot of that, it's continuity for me because it was one of my main strategies that I hadn't been fully aware of, where I wasn't fully aware of how when these certain samskaras or unfinished energy patterns became activated, that my main drive was to prove myself right or prove myself worthy or prove myself worthy of love, acceptance, inclusion, and respect, and all of that, and being part of the group. And I realized that was a major drive at play within a lot of my close relationships, to prove myself right, or to prove my story right, or to prove my side right, or to get or maybe receive some kind of validation and acceptance, external approval and acceptance, from someone else, so that then I could claim it or receive it for myself. But it was never enough, because it was a cycle of where like that supply, would dwindle down, or it wasn't really, it was false. Like there wasn't any substance to it if I couldn't claim my own acceptance, my own respect, and my own like fullness, true fullness, to allow myself like just to be, and the other just to be as they are, without like the ego need for competition, comparison, who's right and wrong, who's worthy and who's not, and those silly songs. Yeah, like all these machinations. And it was like, it did take a little bit to like see into it and see like some of the origins of those links, of those chains of my own slavery and suffering. Like, yeah, just a lot of watching, just a lot of observing, and not rejecting it outright. Like, just, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I wonder. Like, I wonder what that can show me, or thank you for reminding me. Thank you for this opportunity that I, get to let go of this, or I get to allow it to exist, or I get to respond and attend to this and care for myself and care for the other and care for this relationship. And so, yeah, it's been super interesting, like with all those things. So what really brought it about was, just me paying attention to certain funny things that kept coming up, like the rooster, the cock, and then just like continuing and playing, and then seeing into more how they branched out into like so many other correspondences, possibilities, because everything relates and connects to everything else through our relationship with ourselves, through like all these many relationships that we have, that with our co-creators and ourselves, me and we. So you, me, and we, and the three and the two, the dual currents, the dual nature, the one, the two, the three, and from the three comes everything, just all these things at play. And it's so fun, like in so many ways, like to see it unfolding multidimensionally and simultaneously. And like there's one shift in one area, and that like changes the dynamic in other areas. And it's just like, so it's like the whole system, like taking a look at the whole system. And like if there's one imbalance like within the system, that affects every other area of the system, the whole system. Like, and then as we start to clear certain things, like in certain areas of our lives, then other areas can be cleared, and they're also impacted, like and influenced. And it's just so interesting, like with the interchangeability of like this creative energy and how it does all relate. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense in certain ways. So there's so much that wants to come in and come through, and I received a lot as I usually do. And I'm happy about this new camera that I have. It's a lot more clear. I can see like my space, maybe some of the images without like so much of the glare maybe. But I'm excited for new possibilities and new beginnings and new projects and new possibilities and inspiration and ideas coming through, and all this momentum like rising and stirring and being born from within, coming forth and through. So all of us, I'm sure, are going through some of this cleansing and this purging and this releasing and this healing that's taking place right now, and this unification, this harmonization and self-realization of the whole, becoming aware of things that we haven't been able to be aware of before. And now it's like we're supported in and really being here right now, and living here, living in the moment. Yeah. Appreciating and acknowledging all the gifts here and this beautiful gift of life. Yeah. It's so dear that we all are a part of when we're all right here. All right to be all right here. All that we are. Yeah. It's allowed. So be here. Let go of the worries, let go of the fear. And just play and just be here. Show up and be yourself is like the message that I keep getting. And it's like, wait, what do I do? What do I choose? And it's just like, it's all up to you. Just show up and be yourself. Be love for yourself. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to choose. And that's what I'm choosing for me. And I just wanted to offer some cool things that have come up. So the last video that I shared, I talked about like some dreams that I had been reviewing from a couple years ago and a couple months ago and a couple weeks ago. And they're all like kind of, it's so funny how they just pop up and they all relate like to the same themes of yeah, clearing and cleansing and like looking at like that false image that we put so much energy into sustaining when really like our soul suffered. And so yeah, I've been looking at the addict and like the substitutions that we choose because we don't feel like, or we don't believe we deserve, we don't feel like what we really want is available to us, so we take like what we think is like the next best thing or the next best thing, or maybe just like something that we can survive or that we can, yeah, so we can be comfortable like in like this comfort zone that we know, or with the monster we know, or with the familiar yeah, the familiar known zone. So yeah, I was sharing something about yeah, like the Stepford wives image, like to be good and proper and to be accepted into our culture and their false standards and their virtues and their ways of doing things, their ways of operating. And we've been conditioned from a really young age, like before we can even speak, really. That's how long it's been. So just like passing on certain things, you know, like that we've learned, because that's what we know, you know. And then when we learn and we start to know better, then we can choose a little bit better for ourselves. When we know better, we can do better. But that doesn't mean that, like, yeah, that it didn't have value. Like all the things that we've experienced that maybe weren't pleasant or that were painful, like did not, you know, like it's definitely valuable because it taught us what we know now, and it brought us to where we are now, and here we are now. And so that's why I'm grateful for all of the mistakes, all of the seeming mistakes, and the, you know, the pain, for helping, you know, helping us become aware of what we really need for our true well-being, for our true fullness, and for our authenticity, our true ways of being, true to ourselves, and true to who we are right now. So, yeah, I went to go look back at that dream. And yeah, I actually saw some previous entries, and it was really great because it was actually one that went along really well for today, when it was all about, it's a play, it's a game, it's a stage. And yeah, not to take things so personally, and just to trust in this flow, and like, and let it unfold, and all of that was all of those themes. And it was super fun, yeah, to read. So there's a lot of dreams, like, and I'm so glad that I took the time, like really, 'cause it was for me, like to write all of these dreams down, and to write like the last few years, and especially like making that a habit, making that like something that was really, really like a gift for me, because that's, yeah, just what I was led to and I was guided to, and it felt right for me just to start recording things and to start looking at things, because it was so confusing and so incoherent, and just, yeah, being willing to work with what's been given to me and play with it and work through it and honor all of these gifts that have been given. And that writing's been a huge, huge part of that. And I'm just so grateful and awed and and in wonder about all these gifts. And now with hindsight, seeing what it really is as well, just so humbled and so grateful. I wanted to read a couple of these dreams and then tie in some of the things that I received and some of my own writings and relate it to this alchemy that, yeah, we have the opportunity to participate in and to work with right now. So there's never been a better time than right now. And so just be aware, accept, and allow, and be willing to respond to what is now, and to the love that's being offered now, and to the love that's needed now. So there was, this is from 2/25/2020, so February 25th, 2020. So this seems like we are living communally in a home or an art studio or a store, and we have some teens staying with us, and they are helping themselves to paints and belongings without asking or showing respect or care of the value of these things. They are entitled slaves, and they can't seem to help themselves. It's like they get a rush on being high by getting a rise out of others, just doing the opposite of what they're told. LOL. I relate to that, and it seems like this black boy in the dream is a son to me, or a stepson, or a ward, and I'm asking them and him and his girlfriend and friend not to take things without asking and having permission. And they've been taking the car out for a ride, joyrides, a convertible, and stealing paint and getting high, and then they deny their own bullshit and try to gaslight. And I speak clearly to the girl and the black boy, and he's motioning to her, crazy. And I say, no, I'm not crazy. Believe it or not, I'm probably the most sane person you know. And if you continue, you're gone. I'm not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. And I'm just ready to give them the permanent boot out of our home, because fuck that noise, LOL. They're playing dumb, like they don't care. They're putting on airs. They know deep inside the lies that they hide, and communicate boundaries clearly and stand up for what is mine. So that's my choice, to communicate my boundaries clearly and stand up for what is mine. And so, yeah, that's the end of that dream. But then there's this other one that was it's a play, it's a stage, it's a show. So go run around and go with the flow. So this is from 2/27/2020. It seems like we're in a church building, Mormon-style church building, although it feels also like it includes community that isn't rigid in dogma. But of course, maybe we have our own hidden dogmas that we unconsciously follow. Yeah, anyway, it seems like we're putting on a performance, and my little niece is one of our little stars of the Christmas play show. It seems like maybe there was a director of some kind, but we go ahead and we start the show. My little niece seems to know what she's doing, and I follow along, and we begin with the first few scenes, and there are some who are watching us and entertained, some checked out, but almost engaged. Yeah, so it's like maybe they're a little bit shut down, but it's reaching them in some way. So anyway, we get to a certain part of the play, and I realize that I'm not sure what comes next, linearly, trying to figure out what we're really doing and what's the next scene. The story was familiar in my dream. It was obvious Christmas theme, but no Christmas decor or anything. It seems like maybe a live rehearsal rather than an opening night kind of a thing. And we run around the stage circularly and go behind the curtain back to the main floor. I'm worried that we began prematurely without necessary preparation or a solid plan of action. Where is that director and the rest of the cast of characters? What is the next scene that's meant to play out for coherency? And I ask my little niece, where is everybody? And I'm doubting myself and everything. what are we doing here? LOL. And then a bunch of people come out onto the main floor of the auditorium and file into their places. They were just waiting to be called in, it seems. There are quite a few actors, players, participants that came trickling in, way more in the play than really watching us anyway. So there's more in the play than there is in the audience. So there's more of us playing than not. So that's funny. And I'm still wondering, are we getting ahead of ourselves, or is it in order or sequence? Is it in the right order, the right timing, the right sequence? Some seem reluctant but resigned to the situation and the way things are unfolding. And I wonder why I'm in this position of directing or staging when I don't really know what to expect or what comes next. Just figuring it out as it goes. Yeah, as it goes. So just winging it and realizing, oh yeah, it's a play, a stage, and a show, so just go with it, play and let it flow. Enjoy what it is, allow all it is, be with what is, play as it is. Wing it, let others play their roles, respond, and let go. So some people look conservative and withdrawn, and some are happy, easy, and carefree. Some look very uncomfortable, and some are in a lot of pain. But all are willing, and they've shown up to play. And then the last little part is people come in from the left side, people and players come in from the left side of the stage, and like they come up from the theater seats. So like rising and awakening. And so yeah, that was kind of cool. And that was, from 2020. And so yeah, the one that I read about the Stepford wives, and about being good and proper, and about being enough, or the appearance of having it together. Yeah, so much energy put into that, so much energy draining like into those agendas, like siphoned. And so that has been coming up in some of my relationships. And I get to share a little bit about that. When I read this dream in one of my videos, it was at the very end of a very long video, and then the audio started. I don't know if it was the fan in my laptop or what it was, but it was like barely audible. And so I'm just going to read like this little dream first, and then I'll go from there and see what else wants to be shared to tie this all together. Or just let it unfold organically. So this dream was from March 6, 2020. So this one was a weird one. The little keywords that I wrote down was Stepford wives, RFID chip programming, sex kitten, death, Mormon template, brainwashing, controlling subversion of women and culture. So it's like I'm viewing this map of women's lives, of their views or perceptions, or their unlived lives, or their almost lives, or their ideal lives, or their lives they've been told they should have and create, or the lives that have been stolen or given away through the good girl, perfect wife, good woman, proper woman, be a lady, mindfuckery. Man, it's like nothing is allowed to be thrown away and is taking up so much space and so much creative energy with old stuff, dreams, ideals, programs, and beliefs. There's all sorts of things like a grandmother would have collected, doilies, dolls, cats, kittens that look of soft feminine lace, old photos of family, and the cats are everywhere, LOL. Even the kittens are dying. There's no space for life here, only memories and stories, and what ifs and almosts. We're trying so hard to be good, worthy enough that we filled our lives up with all this stuff that we don't really want and couldn't give up. And it's like we believe we need to be perfect to be worth anything. So we hold on to these expectations or stories, myths, beliefs, and are unable to see the layers of programming and conditioning. And maybe we are starting to see all the layers of what we've believed, and it's uncomfortable, and we're not sure how to start repairing or cleaning or straightening or attending to these things. It's all a program of domination and control, but it's dressed up as an archetype of Stepford wives and the go along to get along, it's going to be fine programming. And I did get a definite feel of the dream that this program is being cleared and dissolved, resolved and collapsing, coming apart at the seams, as it no longer is needed or serves us to be stuck in this pattern of trying to please. Yeah, the fallen patriarchy, father, son, husband, grandfather. Yeah. And that's like all that I had written on that, with that dream. I didn't like even go into analysis about it. Yeah, sometimes like that would prevent me from like even writing the dream down, because I felt like, oh, I'm gonna have to go into all of it and look at all of it and share, like break apart all of it and analyze and overanalyze and overthink all of it. And so sometimes I would just like kind of, because it was so much pressure on me, like that it had to be enough, like it had to be a certain way. And that was my cock blocking, like my way of cock blocking me in a lot of ways. And then when I like kind of let it go, like, okay, like I don't need to choose like this all or nothing type of a thing, like just step by step and breath by breath and minute by minute and moment by moment and all of that. And then just like, let's see what we can work with here. Let's see what we can play with here, instead of like sabotaging myself before I even got started, and then like already feeling drained before I began. And so yeah, I'm really grateful like that I just kind of like, even, yeah, I don't feel like it was like a half-ass thing either. I feel like it was just what I needed, and I just allowed myself to start where I was, or just, yeah, let myself start where I am, to be where I am, and then, yeah, move forward from there, or yeah, just respond, and work and play and continue, or just release and let it go and surrender it and receive the gift of, yeah, that love and my soul and my highest self, my fullest self, was offering me to work with, because I had been asking for help, and like, man, for so long it seems like, man, please help me with this. I don't understand it, I don't get it, I'm having a hard time like accepting this, like, or like just being here, please help me learn how to allow myself and allow my feelings and allow others theirs, And so just like working with all this, yeah, it's just, I can see like all the different layers, and all the things that have been integrated and honored. So it's so great. I'm like so grateful for the practices that I got to choose for myself, and just like the ways that I get to show up for myself and care for myself and be love for myself, and then I can, yeah, share that and extend that and be that, like, with others, and yeah, for me and for we, more fully, more truly, yeah, more completely, and more authentically, like showing up and being me, just as I am and just as I'll be. And that's like a huge like freeing up of energy, like where I don't need to, yeah, try and control certain things. I just get to relinquish control, and that like any kind of like perception management, but like little by little, like it's like shedding this old skin. Yeah, and sometimes it does get uncomfortable before we're able to let it go, but like sometimes we just know it's time, and it can be like just like changing into a new pair of clothes. Yeah, that can be that easy, which that is so cool too, because I wanted to do a video, but I've had like some limitations with my electronics and things, to show you guys some of the collage that I was working on like in the last week or two. And that, yeah, there's one little board here that I made. Yeah, it's got a statue of Vesta, with Vestal virgins, on this board, and it was like one little scrap of paper. It was like I was gonna throw it away, but then I was like, no, wait, maybe this is for me, and this goes with this collage. And so, what this one little thing is, and it's upside down, like I glued it upside down, so there's a message there for me. It says worn out clothes and puts on new ones. Yeah, and here's the picture. So here's Vesta, and here is this little currency, this coin, and then this little message here that's upside down. worn out clothes and puts on new ones. Yeah, this one I made last week, Keepers of the Flame. Got this little image of right here from my yoga book I was talking about in one of my videos. And yeah, the pillars of light and currency and the reflections. Yeah. And community, service. Yeah, sexuality, like life force and creativity, fertility, alchemy. Yeah, all those things. So there's that one. And I probably will like do another board and kind of intuit some of the messages and what the images, allow the images to speak and allow the wisdom to emerge and reveal itself instead of me telling myself, oh, that's a picture of this and that's this. And just like open to gazing and like receiving. And then, receiving those little messages or that reflection, because that's a part of my creative energy, like these images that I'm creating and that I want to invite into my space because they activate something within me, some inner truth and inner knowing. And like, it really is really empowering to have those reminders in my space or to have those messages, be open to those messages or receiving those messages for me to help remind me and encourage me and support me in what I'm choosing and building and creating and opening myself to. Yeah. So I love the collage. Like I've loved it so much. Like it's one of the best things I could have chosen for myself too. Like just because it is such a great way to explore the psyche and like to start like communicating or to be open to that receptivity and knowing that like all these things like are a reflection of the qualities that I hold within myself, and how do I get to direct that, and how do I get to honor that. And so collage has helped me a lot with that, and like really seeing and remembering like who I am, like who I really am, not this little self, this person called Jen, but like who I really am. All I am. So, and I do appreciate like this person called Jen that I am, that I get to be right now, but I'm so much more than that. And that like gives me so much more appreciation for who I do get to be right now. Like, and acceptance of who I have been and who I will be. And all those things. So it is such a gift that keeps giving. And like choosing to be loved for me and we. And, I'll just show you like this one little board because I'm not too. I'll just show you some of these pictures. So, like the colors, like the blue and the indigos and stuff in my jam. I'm not used to like this mirror reversal thing. It's so funny. Like, get used to one thing and then do the opposite of what we think we're supposed to do. It's so funny because that's true sometimes, a lot of times. But this is like just showing me like each moment, like be here in the moment and celebrate and be present and be engaged and be cheerful. Cheers. And then like this the birth of Venus and the pearls of wisdom. Let's see, here we go, pearls of wisdom. And seeing like our perception, like this eye over here, this eye right there, and then this geometry, and then how those things manifest. And this reminds me of like a cauldron over here, and then like just the mountains and the island and the bat medicine here, and currency, and all those things. like, yeah, I know she has a lot to say to me, but yeah, I just made that the other day, and I'll share a little bit more about that at a later time. So, wanted to share like a couple things that came up, some pop quizzes, and I had shared last time about letting go of my agendas and my need to fix or manage or save anyone or change anyone's mind or even change the situation. Like just showing up and being present and being aware and being willing to allow and being in acceptance, even if like that was really uncomfortable for me. And like, yeah, just practicing letting go and being in the flow and trusting and asking for help to increase the strength of my faith. And yeah, trusting that all is in divine order and divine timing, and just like choosing compassion and empathy and forgiveness and responding to the best of my ability. And so some things have been shifting, like some dynamics, and yeah, certain patterns are breaking up and they're dissolving. And so while this pattern has been going in this direction for a long time, for a very long time, generations. And so obviously there's momentum where the energy goes, where it flows. It has been able to flow. But breaking up like those pathways, those old pathways, by creating new pathways. And but then, when the energy is about ready to dissolve and break up, then it comes up for one last hurrah to trip us up, because it wants to keep continuing that direction, keep continuing its path, where it's been going, its pattern. And so there's these opportunities that do rise up, so that we can redirect it, or it can just reestablish itself, and then we can fall back into the old pattern. And so it's just like becoming aware of like when those things come up. And so it's kind of interesting to see them, and to let go, like to acknowledge, oh, okay, this is just something that's coming up. You get to redirect it, or get to allow it, or get to accept it, and then respond. Yeah, choose how to respond to it. And so, what wants to be shared about this? Oh yes. And so not having to prove that I'm worthy, or to prove that I'm right, or to prove that I'm enough. And in so doing, like, some of that unconsciously making the other wrong. And I realize, like, hey, I don't need to do that, even though, like, I know what my boundaries are, and I know what feels right for me, and I know what's acceptable and not acceptable to me. But I can still accept the situation, but I can ask for what I need without having to make the other wrong, or condemn, or judge, or blame anyone else or anything else outside of me for what I need. Like, it's interesting, because it is going beyond that right and wrong way of operating, and into like more of what's really true and full, and working with that. And so I had something come up yesterday with someone who's dear to me, and I've noticed like certain patterns like that play out with like it's shadow dumping in a lot of ways. So sometimes like we're stressed, but we distract ourselves from it because we get busy, and then like something will trigger all the stress we've been holding in, and then like who the nearest bystander sometimes gets dumped on. It's like an energetic vomit, almost like, where we spew over someone, all over someone, like that, and feel justified because, man, they made us mad, or something. And yeah, so something came up the other day, and it was just like, okay, well, I don't really like this, and this isn't pleasant for me, but and I'm sure it's not pleasant for them either. But okay, what's my choice here, and what do I get to claim for me, and what do I get to allow? And I get to relinquish control of this and know that I don't need to change it right now, and that it's just coming up because it gets to play itself out, and then we get to respond to it, and that is what actually transforms it. And so it was really, really, really cool. And just kind of looking at different things like energy etiquette and honoring our creative energy and becoming aware of that, of where it's being directed and what we're creating with it because of the unconscious choices that we have made that maybe we're not aware of and all those things. But yeah, I was like, yeah, instead of being sucked into this story, where some mental streams would come in, and I would just I would be that martyr or that sacrificial lamb or that scapegoat, and I was just like, nah, I don't need to be that. And so because what was making me mad was feeling like I was being made into the bad guy for someone else's unclaimed or unaddressed energy and emotions, and I didn't want to be that bad guy. And so it would be my habit to turn it around and make them the wrong one. But I was like, I know I don't need to do that either, so I don't need to make myself wrong or the other wrong right now. And although my feelings about this, yes, they're legitimate, and yes, they're right, and all those things, and I can acknowledge what I really need right now and what my boundaries are and what I need to ask for. But yeah, just letting go of the need to show how I'm right, or any of that kind of stuff, silly machinations of monkey mind. What I got was it's your choice, it's your energy, it's your responsibility. And then I was looking at certain things because I could see this lens in my mental stream where it would flip, there's this flip, this reversal. It's kind of hard to explain, but just watching it, I'll do the best I can with how I can describe it with words. And it'd be easier if we could just do a Vulcan mind meld sometimes, but language is what we have to work with right now, so we'll play with that the best we can. So what it was looking at the lenses, of all these characters, and this false image, the super ego lens, that's maybe what it is. It seems there's an internal lens that I have that looks within, and then there's this external lens that looks without, and I just kept bouncing back and forth between those, and it was really weird. A really weird way to try and orient or reorient myself, oh my gosh, just becoming aware. So maybe it'll be easier to articulate after watching it for a little while longer. Maybe next month it'll make more, it'll be a little more clear. But just switching back and forth from these lenses, from what pulls me out of myself and then what brings me back to center, and those types of things, and seeing how those both feel. And then I can become more aware of when I'm being pulled out by external stimuli or another's agenda, or my own insecurities, and playing into my own agenda, or playing at being something that I'm not, trying to prove something that I am. If that makes any sense at all. But there's this lens that's an artificial substitution for my true, full, clear sight of true vision. And now that I'm aware, but I'm not really sure how to let go of. So I will just accept that it's there and ask for help to see all I need to see, and I get to see right now. So awareness is the first step and acceptance the next. What am I aware of? So I'm aware that I would like to control, or like have the illusion that I'm in control of certain situations, or my reactions or responses, my feelings, my circumstances, certain consequences. Obviously, that'd be nice to control. Or manage or direct, like others, through pretending, defending, or posing, acting or playing a role. Is that my imposing my own views or my own personal will or egotism? Yeah. The inauthentic, conditioned, learned, programmed ways of operating, survival strategies. Yeah, unconscious reactions to prove that I am worthy. Wanting to be proper, but only to a certain extent. Volatile emotions are hard for me to accept when they're directed with careless intent, or they explode outward in a shadow dump implosion, violent and unpleasant. Impressions misdirected, expressions. Please learn how to regulate. Yeah, please learn how to regulate and use restraint. So, what am I willing to allow and what am I not willing to allow or experience in my space and in my relationship dynamics? So look at personal boundaries and agreements that I have made. Most definitely, all these things can relate. You are not a victim. It's your choice. It's your energy, your responsibility. And so after that, I was like, okay, so I get to choose this for me. I'm not going to let this color my whole day, and let it suck me down into defending myself and going around in these circles on the hamster wheel, and the judge on the hamster wheel, the judge victim stories, the lack of poverty, not enough or too much, not good enough. So I chose to have respect, and respect for myself and compassion for myself, compassion for the other, and gratitude for what was being offered and what was being given and what was being presented. And also choosing empathy and forgiveness, because really seeing into some certain things about how forgive them, for they know not what they do, in certain ways. That doesn't mean we have to take abuse or agree to something that's not true, but choose empathy and compassion instead. And so that's what I chose. And I just my right to be as I am, and your right to be as you are. There is enough, you are enough, I am enough, enough is enough. And I have had just about enough of this misdirected energy, unrestrained expressions of unconscious energy, spiritual and emotional immaturity, energy rape. There is such a thing as energy etiquette. Take conscious responsibility of your own energy. Please and thank you. So just seeing that that willingness to let go of the agenda to be right, or to prove myself right, or to make the other wrong so that I could be right, really did actually free up a lot of energy within me, and it actually made the room and the space for things to shift and change. And that is, yes, I'm so grateful that I was willing to let go and just allow and accept, surrender to flow as best I could and was able to. And yay for surrender and letting go, relinquishing that psychic burden of control. And then voila, things have room to shift and change. Miracles and magic and gratitude, because yes, love, yes, I did say thanks. Thanks for the challenges and growth, the potential for learning, expanding, and recalibrating, integrating, practicing, experiencing, playing, cooperating, co-creating, and participating. Rewiring, honoring my choices and the gifts being given, doing my best and being love right here as I am. Forgiving, accepting, appreciating, valuing the moment and the present, current state of being all I am. Being love, always love, love always, love always. Always. So all our ways, through all our ways. Through all her ways, through all God's ways, through all love's ways. All love's ways. So it is pretty awesome looking at those things, like, and how we can become addicted to our strategies and our lower emotions. That keep us attached to our stories and our identities and our comfort zones of what we think we know, and like kind of like trying to reinforce that false image, um, of security. So it's just kind of interesting to be with and to play with. Surrendering, accepting, acknowledging, recognizing, appreciating, realizing, valuing, seeing, receiving, allowing, thanking, praising, blessing, and celebrating, honoring, releasing, unifying through loving me and we, all this love we get to be. Lots of ideas, themes, stories, scripts, and gems of wisdom swirling through my inner awareness and coming to the surface to be seen, surrendered, or allowed to be. Good conversations, letting go of agendas and the need to fix or manage it or change anything. Just allowing, being willing, and offering my thoughts, perceptions, feelings. There is more room for expansion and reciprocal exchange, indeed. All these creative ways of healing and divine possibilities. Major shifts in changing how we see, operate, think, perceive, relate, and cooperate. Energetic communication, communion with the beloved, me and we. So, just looking at some of the themes coming in, and I was feeling like a little bit of nostalgia or some kinds of feelings of depression, like mystical depression, kind of seemed like coming to the surface last night. But instead of like trying to like immediately change that or bypass it, it's just like, okay, I can allow these feelings, like, and I can choose like love for myself right now as I'm feeling these unpleasant feelings, and then it's able to move through me, and it's just like I don't have to go look and see like what it's about or anything, or what's wrong so I can fix it. It was just like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now, and I can meet those feelings and allow those feelings and accept those feelings, and because I'm aware of those feelings, and I'll just be with what I feel what I feel, and then breathe love into it, and not get attached to it, but also not be in resistance to it. So it is like being more centered and more allowing of what is coming in and allowing it to move through. So it's a lot more expansive and a lot more full and true. Some new ways of operating in the world, but not of it. And so a couple days ago, on the 25th, I gave myself a reading. I had a little question for myself, and I did a 10-card spread, a Celtic cross spread, and I got some really interesting cards. I chose to just use the major arcana, the 22 archetypes. And this was a super interesting reading and very positive and very affirming for me. And I just wanted to share like the resolution, the last card, which was very interesting because we just had our full moon and our lunar eclipse portal, and the resolution, the 10th card, was the moon. So I'll just write down or share what I wrote down about that. So the resolution is where events are leading and consider the whole. So the moon, things aren't always as they seem. The journey into the underworld and the unknown. Possible crisis, madness, and lunacy, but an opportunity to turn it all around. It's a pole shift, illumination, and clarity, awakening and igniting the flame, the light within. A time to trust, let go, open, surrender, offer, and receive. Be the light within. Let go and embrace the unknown and this new relationship with life, self, light, and time. Be willing to open and let it all go, in service to the whole, in service to all. So that all of this new life can come forth and through and unfold in divine order and timing. In divine order and time. Trust our instincts, intuition, inner knowing, life, light, and love to guide us. Use discernment, restraint, and caution. Create an inner light and be the light. Say yes to love always. It may be intense and uncomfortable, Allow the pain and the grief and the sorrow. Invite love, peace, courage, faith, strength, gratitude, acceptance, joy, clarity, humility, and compassion. Allow it. Allow it to flow. So opening, yielding, responding, offering, and sharing insights, love, guidance, wisdom, and direction. So good love. Yeah, so good love and generosity. So much good love and generosity. Magic at play in our space. Healing and growth, transformation at play and taking place. Yeah. Reaching out to others and offering love. And like the gifts that I'm able to give. And so that feels like really great, really generous. And I can feel like, this huge shift that we're all going through, whether we're aware of it or not right now. And there was something cool. I picked up this book yesterday, Anatomy of the Spirit by Mace. Just had a nudge to pull it off my bookshelf in my bedroom, and I flipped open to several different pages, and every single thing was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, this is amazing, this is exactly what I needed right now. And just learning a little bit more about the chakras and the energy centers, and as Kundalini, the Kundalini, and like all of those energy centers, and how they relate. Like there's so many correspondences and connections, and it's so amazing and cool. So I might share a little bit about that next time, but it is so cool because there are like correspondences between like the Christian, Judeo, Hindu, Buddhist, all of those things, like with the sevens. So it's so fun, like all of these things. So like looking at all of these things, like the mythology and different traditions and things, like in Christianity and Hinduism and Judaism, and like Kabbalah is the mystical branch of Judaism. And so it's really freaking amazing, like that all these things are coming in and through, like to teach me. It's like my inner teacher, just asking for like, and being curious, and then like just following little nudges, and then there it is. Like, and it's just so cool, like weaving together this beautiful tapestry of all this divine wisdom from all of these various diverse traditions, and like just seeing the magic in like the mundane, and how they're one and the same. Like if we're able to look like a little deeper, which does remind me of a dream that I read earlier today about life being an iceberg. And it was something that I read before the dreams I just shared. It's kind of fun. Maybe I'll share that next time. So it was fun. Like, it was about like the iceberg. So like we can see 10% of what's on the surface, but there's like still 90% below the surface, and that's like amazing because it's a good metaphor for our unconscious, for some of the things that we can start to become aware of, like just knowing that there's things underneath the surface and there's that unseen world, like and then being willing to excavate or to allow it to emerge. But I really super enjoyed this, looking into this book, Anatomy of the Spirit, and there was something that I did flip open to, is like the third principle, you alone can help yourself heal. And it was also something about like the power of choice. The power of choice. So I just want to read this little paragraph about the third principle, you alone can help yourself heal. So energy medicine is a holistic philosophy that teaches I am responsible for the creation of my health. I therefore participated at some level in the creation of this illness. I can participate in the healing of this illness by healing myself, which means simultaneously healing my emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual being. Healing and curing are not the same thing. A cure occurs when one has successfully controlled or abated the physical progression of an illness. Curing a physical illness, however, does not necessarily mean that the emotional and psychological stresses that were a part of the illness were also alleviated. In this case, it is highly possible and often probable that an illness will recur. The process of curing is passive, that is, the patient is inclined to give his or her authority over to the physician and prescribed treatment instead of actively challenging the illness and reclaiming health. Healing, on the other hand, is an active and internal process that includes investigating one's attitudes, memories, and beliefs with the desire to release all negative patterns that prevent one's full emotional and spiritual recovery. This internal review inevitably leads one to review one's external circumstances in an effort to recreate one's life in a way that serves activation of will, the will to see and accept truths about one's life and how one has used one's energies, and the will to begin to use energy for the creation of love, self-esteem, and health. The language of conventional medicine sounds more military than that of energy medicine. The patient was attacked by a virus, or a substance contaminated the cell tissue, resulting in a malignancy. Conventional medical philosophy considers the patient an innocent or virtually powerless victim who has suffered an unprovoked attack. Holistic and conventional medicine take two different attitudes toward power, active and passive. So I'll just leave it right there for now. And the power of choice. The energy of the second chakra, so that is the Swadhisthana, or the sacral chakra, and that's all about creative energy. And so I had mentioned that Vam was the seed sound for that chakra, and it's a watery element. And so it's really cool, like, that I flipped open and looking at like these things that do correspond and relate to my process of healing. So the second chakra is the energy of the second chakra helps us evolve beyond the collective energy of the tribe. Choice is born out of opposites, and the duality of the second chakra is forever challenging us to make choices in a world of opposing sides, of positive and negative energy patterns. Every choice we make contributes to a subtle current of our energy to our universe, which is responsive to the influence of human consciousness. So every choice we make contributes a subtle current of our energy to our universe, which is responsive to the influence of human consciousness. Managing the power of choice, with all its creative and spiritual implications, is the essence of the human experience. All spiritual teachings are directed toward inspiring us to recognize that the power to make choices is the dynamic that converts our spirits into matter, our words into flesh. Choice is the process of creation itself. The fact that our choices weave our spirits into events is the reason the major spiritual traditions are formed around one essential lesson. Make your choices wisely, because each choice you make is a creative act of spiritual power for which you are held responsible. Further, any choice made from faith has the full power of heaven behind it, which is why a faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain. And any choice made from fear is a violation of the energy of faith. Choice has a mysterious aspect, however, for we will never completely know the full outcome of any choice we make. A primal lesson of the second chakra is the paradoxical nature of choice. What seems right can turn out wrong. What appears good can end up bad. Just when everything is going smoothly, chaos breaks things up. Paradoxically, while the energy of the second chakra inclines us to try to control our lives, the lesson of the second chakra is that we cannot be in control. We are physical beings and energy beings, but since the physical world cannot be controlled, the task before us is to master our inner responses to the external world, our thoughts and emotions. Nevertheless, we all struggle in a seemingly never-ending cycle of disappointment in which we attempt to control our lives. We search endlessly for the one grand choice that will put everything in our lives into permanent order, halting the motion of change long enough to establish final control over everyone and everything. Is that choice the right career, the right marriage partner, the right geographic location? In seeking this one right choice constantly, we give form to our fear of the changing rhythm that is life itself. So, yeah, in seeking this one right choice constantly, we give form to our fear of the changing rhythm that is life itself. In looking for this single external person or thing that will forever bring us peace, stability, love, and health, we dismiss the more authentic power that lies behind our eyes and not in front of them. The truth contained within the paradoxical nature of dualism is this: it is not what we choose that matters. Our power to influence an outcome lies in our reasons for making a certain choice. The challenge of the second chakra is to learn what motivates us to make the choices that we do. In learning about our motivations, we learn about the content of our spirits. Are you filled with fear or are you filled with faith? Every choice we make contains the energy of either faith or fear, and the outcome of every decision reflects, to some extent, that faith or fear. This dynamic of choice guarantees that we cannot run away from ourselves or our decisions. And then the next little part is about choice and relationships. And so I thought that was cool. The challenge of managing creative energy. Yeah, all those things. But yeah, that did relate pretty well, to what happened with me yesterday. And so I was able to let go of like that control, or that illusion of control, and knew that I didn't have to fix or change or shift, like it wasn't up to me, like, to make it all better or to make it comfortable, to make it comfortable for myself or for the other. I could allow it to be uncomfortable. And then like when I was willing to do that and like just focus on, like, not bypass like the way that I was feeling, but also like focus on what is being offered here, what like this is uncomfortable and this is unpleasant, but what else is it, like what else could it be, and then what else is here for me, and just like being in that receptivity, making that room, making that space, and then things just shift and change organically. And then the other was able to, like, not long after, it was like maybe less than 5 minutes after I had like made that decision to surrender it, and like I totally redirected my intent, my attention, my energy, and then like less than 5 minutes later got to have an interaction with my loved one, and things were given room in the space to organically shift and unfold in a new direction. And so I was like, that is so awesome, like seeing that, like and then reading that, like where we're giving like our energy to the universe and it responds to us. And so like just seeing like how our choices like do on an unseen level affect like other people and their receptivity as well. Like it can, like especially if we're in learning an active relationship dynamics with them. And it's like so cool, really. And it just brings me back to what I was reading in Letting Go, and what Turkey was showing me, Turkey medicine, about like emotional manipulation. Like if we're giving to receive, that is emotional manipulation. Or if we're like we have like feelings of resentment or expectation, like that can actually contribute to the other person's resistance in a lot of ways. And it's just kind of funny to see those things, like how we do like activate certain things within each other. And it's just funny, like looking at it in a way like almost like a game of dominoes sometimes. Or it's just fun to see, like in new ways, all these things. And so there was one more thing that I want to share right now that I picked up today, because at the same time that I picked up my Anatomy of the Spirit, I picked this book up. It's Buddha's Brain, and it's The Practical Neuroscience of Happiness, Love, and Wisdom by Rick Hansen, PhD, with Richard Mendius, MD. And I got this at the library sale, and I haven't really read it yet, and so I just had a nudge to pick it up, and I flipped it open, to page 138 in Empathy. So I'm just going to share this little thing about empathy. Empathy is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. When someone empathizes with you, it gives you the sense that your inner being truly exists for that person, that you are a thou to his I, with feelings and needs that have standing. Empathy reassures you that he understands your inner workings, at least somewhat, particularly your intentions and emotions. We are social animals who, as Dan Siegel puts it, need to feel felt. Or let's say you are the one who is offering empathy. Empathy is respectful and soothing, as it usually evokes goodwill in return. Often empathy is all the other person is asking of you. If there is still something the person needs to talk about, you can address it in a more positive atmosphere. Further, being empathetic gives you lots of useful information about the other person, including what's really on her mind and what she really cares about. For example, if she's being critical of you, sense down into her deeper wants, particularly the softer and younger ones. So, yeah. For example, if she's being critical of you, you sense down into her deeper wants, particularly the softer and younger ones. Then you'll have a fuller picture, which will probably reduce any frustration or anger toward her. She'll likely sense the shift in you and become more understanding herself. To be clear, empathy is neither agreement nor approval. You can empathize with someone you wish would act differently. Empathy doesn't mean waiving your rights. Knowing this can help you feel it's all right to be empathetic or empathic. Empathy doesn't mean waiving your rights. Knowing this can help you feel it's all right to be empathetic or empathic. In spiritual practice, empathy sees how we are all related to each other. It is mindful and curious with a don't know quality that prevents you from getting stuck in your own views. Empathy is virtue in action, the restraint of reactive patterns in order to stay present with another person. It embodies non-harming, since a lack of empathy is often upsetting to others and also opens the door to hurting them unwittingly. Empathy contains an inherent generosity. You give the willingness to be moved by another person. And then empathic breakdowns. I haven't read this part yet. I do think that's really awesome, because that just is like another affirmation of what I experienced this week. So empathic breakdowns. For all its benefits, empathy disappears quickly during most conflicts and fades away slowly in many long-term relationships. Unfortunately, inadequate empathy erodes trust and makes it harder to solve interpersonal problems. Just recall a time you felt misunderstood, or worse, a time when the other person didn't even want to understand you. A history of empathic breakdowns has effects. The more vulnerable a person is and the higher the stakes, the greater the impact. For example, insufficient caregiver empathy often leads to insecure attachment in a young child. In the larger world, empathic breakdowns lead to exploitation, prejudice, and terrible atrocities. There is no empathy in the wolf of hate. How to be empathic. Your natural capacity for empathy can be brought forth deliberately, used skillfully, and strengthened. Here's how to work with the brain's empathy circuits. Oh, that's pretty cool. Because in this book, in Anatomy of the Spirit, she was also talking about a circuit board. And yeah, it's like looking into that. So that's kind of fun, like seeing that. Bring conscious intentions to being empathic. For example, when I realize that my wife wants to have one of those conversations, she's not happy about something and it's probably me. And I try to take a few seconds to remind myself to be empathic and not lame, and that it feels good to be empathic. These little steps activate the prefrontal cortex to orient you to the situation, focus your intentions, and prime empathy-related neural networks. They also warm up the limbic system to get your brain headed towards the rewards of empathy. Next, relax your body and mind and open to the other person as much as feels right to you. Use the methods in the next section to feel safe and strong enough to receive the other person fully. Remind yourself that whatever is in his mind is over there and you're over here, present with, but separate from the stream of his thoughts and feelings. Keep paying attention to the other person. Be with him. This sort of sustained attention is uncommon and other people appreciate it a lot. Appoint a little guardian in your mind that keeps watching the continuity of your attentiveness. This will stimulate the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC, which pays attention to attention. That's awesome. We'll say more about this guardian in chapter 12. In a way, empathy is a kind of mindfulness meditation focused on someone else's inner world. Wow. That's really cool. I'm actually going to just let's leave it there because that was something good to digest. Oh, wow. Let's receive it here. Just let it be. Yeah. Surrender to be here. All right, there was so much more that does go along with that. Yeah, the intention and the attention and everything else. So this morning, what I wrote was Gaia, New Earth 5D operating system, online and harmonizing. Solar flares and DNA activations, upgrades, downloads, new communications through organic programs of ascension and expansion. Our awareness and intention, thought, will, attention, choices, feelings, actions, responsibilities. This is our great reunion and our awakening, returning home to ourselves to remember love again. Breathe, let go, surrender. Breathe, begin again. The genie and the lamp, the alchemist and the laboratory, the mother and the father, the child of the light. Hathor, Isis, Mat, Durga, Kali, Sekhmet, Lakshmi, Sarasvati, Sita, Ram, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Radha, Parvati, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, avatars, and Tara. Birth of our new time, there is new full true lives, the rose, the sisterhood, the Magdalenes, the scarab, and the dove. Ravens, magic, cosmology, correspondences and connections, thoughts and memories, the power of choice and accountability, faith, justice, grace, strength, gratitude, and humility for all the infinite potential and the creative possibilities to be, experience, dream, share, create, enjoy, and embody all this love in everything. The addict, the ugly duckling, and the swan, acceptance, awareness, reception. Remember all you are. Curiosity, receptivity, joyful participation in the sorrows and triumphs of the world, the wounded healer, the healed healer, through loving all we are. So, yeah, I think I will leave it there, and next time I'll have some more to share about the dancing, the red dancing shoes, and yeah, those certain themes and those expectations that have been thrust upon us by our culture, and actually that keep us locked into those disempowering patterns of defending who we think we are. And yeah, all those things and themes, synchronicities. So thanks for listening. I hope you're well. And what's coming up for you? What's coming through you? What's happening for you? What's playing out through you? What are you playing into? What are you playing at? And what are you playing through? All right. Be love for yourselves. Take good care of yourselves. Be all the love you need for yourself. Love yourself whole. We'll talk to you later. Bye for now.